Good morning. Today we're going to practice drawing a sketch. Specifically, we're going to practice drawing this sketch. You can see that this sketch has two circles. It has a slot with a circle on the end. It has a rectangle within a rectangle, and it has two arcs connecting it. You'll see that it's drawn on the front plane, and that the center of the circle is right here at the center point. Let's get started. I'm going to start by drawing this large outer circle. You might look at it and say, that actually looks like an arc. But what we're going to do to make this a little easier for ourselves is draw it as a circle and then trim this inner part of it to become an arc later. And that's going to be much easier than drawing an arc itself, because it's going to be hard to guess exactly where this point and this point are. Because that dimension is not given. So it's easiest to just draw a circle and then trim it into an arc later. And you can tell that this circle should have a diameter of 15. So I'm going to draw a sketch on my front plane. I'm going to click this view cube right here to view from the front, like this. And I'm going to draw a circle. When I click on the center, I can move my mouse out. You can see that the size increases. I don't have to get it all the way to 15, because when I tap, I have the ability to type in 15 right now. So I'm going to do that and press enter. You can see that it's a little larger than my window, so I'm going to roll my mouse wheel so that I can see it a little better. Perfect. All right. How about right there? So the second circle, you can see, is 4 smaller. You can see the distance between this one and this one right here as listed is 4. So I'm going to draw another circle with the same center point right here. It wants me to type in a dimension, but I'm not going to, because the diameter of this circle is not the dimension I want. Instead, I'm going to click the dimension button, select both circles, and tell it that the distance between the two circles is 4. Looking at my picture, maybe next I would decide to draw the rest of this outside shape. Maybe I would draw this rectangle first. You'll notice that this rectangle is along a dotted line. So I'm going to put that dotted line in to help me line things up. And it looks like this dotted line, or construction line, is 20 long. So I'm going to click my construction line button and choose line. So the line that I draw becomes a construction line. I'm going to extend it out and then type in the number 20. Perfect. All right, I've scooched my drawing over a little so I can see it better. I'm going to go back and see what's next. I see that what's next is this rectangle, and that this rectangle has a little dot right here. And that tells me that it's a center point rectangle instead of a corner rectangle. The advantage of this center point rectangle is that since you draw the center point first and then the outer corner, you can make sure that that rectangle is even, that it's not too high or too low, that it's centered on the line. So I'm going to choose anywhere on this line to put the center of my rectangle. And you can see as I extend out, it's even on both sides. And I want the edge of this rectangle to line up with this end point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my mouse down here, and I'm going to tap, not click, I'm going to tap that spot. And you can see that as I extend upwards, that there's this little orange dotted line that appears, and that shows that I am lined up. So I'm going to take a look at the size of this rectangle. It looks like it is 5 across and 12.5 down. So I'm going to add a dimension right here that this should be 5 and this should be 12.5. All right, it says that the second box inside has a size of 2 and 8. I want to choose this center point rectangle again because I want to make sure that this rectangle has the same center point as the other one so that it's even. So I'm going to draw my rectangle right here, and I'm going to choose 2 and 8. All right, perfect. My next step is going to be to draw the arcs in between. So you can see these two arcs right here have a radius of 12.5, and that it's a nice smooth transition. So I'm going to choose arc, and there's so many arc options. I'm going to pick 3-point arc so that I can make sure that the left and right points are along the same plane. So you can see that it gives us the instructions. Click to indicate the start point, the end point, and then the radius. So I'm going to choose my start point over here because I know I want it to touch this spot. And then as I move over, you can see that it comes to a spot where this like a dotted orange line appears. And that's how I know these 2 points are along the same plane. So I'm going to scooch over until it is both along the same plane and touches the circle. You'll notice that both the circle turns orange and there's that orange dotted line. So I'm going to click there. Come on. And then as I wiggle my mouse, I can say whether I want the arc to go down into the object or up out of the object. So I'm going to choose down, and I'm going to type in the radius of my arc, 12.5. And I will do the same thing on the other side, choosing the end point, choosing a point on the circle that both touches the circle and is along the same axis, wiggling my mouse and typing in 12.5. You'll notice that now the entire object is black and filled in. The black lines indicate that your object is fully constrained, that it knows exactly how big it is and where it is in space. And you will notice that it is all gray inside, which means that it is a closed shape, that there's no tiny gaps in between that exposes the shape outwards to the there's no like little holes or in between the lines. So you can make it a solid object, essentially. You can't make it a solid object unless it is an enclosed object. So it looks like our next step is this little slot. I'm going to draw this as a circle. And it looks like this circle has a diameter of 1.5 and that the center of this circle is 10 away from the center of this one. So I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to put it over here somewhere. The exact location does not matter. And I'm going to type in that it has a size of 1.5. And then I'm going to add the dimension now that says that it is a distance of 10 away. It looks like my last step is to add these 2 lines right here and then trim everything out. So I'm going to add these 2 lines, and you'll notice that they line up with the exact top and bottom of that little circle I just drew. So when I click the line button, I'm going to kind of like hover over this spot and then go straight down so that I can find this spot to be exactly on the edge of that circle. If I draw here or if I draw over here, it's not going to be exactly lined up. So I want to tap and then go down to this point, which I know is exactly at the bottom of the circle. And then I'm going to go straight over until I line up with the origin. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to tap and then go straight up to make sure that I'm in the right spot. And I'm going to cruise over till I'm even with the origin on this side. Oh my God. All right, my last step is going to be to trim out the parts I don't need. This is the trim button, and what's cool is that you can use it to like just do like little snips on, oops, don't want those 2, on parts that aren't going to make it into your final shape. Like this. Perfect. I'm going to compare my work. Looks awesome. My last step is to take a screenshot and turn it in. Nice job, guys.